We can't ever get rid of shame. What we can do is develop resilience to shame. So when it happens and it washes over, that warm wash that makes you feel small and not enough, when that washes over me, rather than yelling at my kids or just decimating.
I wanted to show that to you out of the greatest respect for Brene Brown and Louis Howe. I enjoy both of their work. I want to make that super clear first. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not bashing them. Totally not, especially not Brene. I've never met either one of them. I would love to, but I just wanted to bring this up, and I'll put the link to this video below. It's from September 13th of 2017. And it just popped up in my feed, and I always listen to stuff that interests me, and this interested me. It said, secrets for healing yourself. So of course that interested me. And then the first thing she said was, we can't ever get rid of shame. And it made me stop. And I literally had to take a deep breath, and I pushed it backwards. It's the first words. We can't ever get rid of shame. What we can do is develop resilience to shame. And this was 2017, granted, so maybe she's got more information since then. But I heard that, and I know how videos work on YouTube, and I know how usually this kind of stuff goes, is most people will listen to the first 15 seconds if you're lucky, and then maybe a minute in, and if you catch their attention, they'll keep going. I did listen to the whole video. I highly recommend you listen to it. So even in this comment of we can never get rid of shame, there's some good, valuable information in it, just because that's who she is and what she does. She has tons of great information. And listening to Louis is always a ton of fun. But what I want to suggest to you is that you can get rid of shame. Shame is not a valuable, and I don't want to call it an emotion, but we treat it like it's an emotion. If you are walking a spiritual path, which if you're listening to myself and if you're listening to people like them, you probably are trying to. And then you hear something like you can't ever get rid of it, but you can develop a resilience to it. And you certainly can. I want to say, I think that's an antiquated idea, right? So understanding that when you get in touch with your spirit, which is what I tend to try and help people do, is to really get inside and find that part of you that is your Holy Spirit, that's your true self, the true nature of who you are. In that place, there is no shame. If you're living from your heart and you're implementing steps to create a relationship with your own spirit, and I call it your own Holy Spirit because that is what it is. And in that place of your heart, shame won't enter in there. It can't, because only the attributes of the Spirit are attributes of the Spirit. And if you understand that concept, we're talking about the higher level vibrational emotions, if you will, right? So peace, love, joy, right? Unconditional love is usually considered the top. Satisfaction, gratitude is high up there. And you can look up graphs and charts all over the place about this stuff. And then, of course, shame would be on the negative end of that. Your heart doesn't produce that. Your spirit does not produce that. To end shame, to get rid of shame. So her words were, we can't ever get rid of shame. And I'm saying, yes, you can. Touch your spirit. Live inside your spirit, and then let your spirit walk out your life. It changes the nature of everything about you. It changes the nature of how you think about things. I believe it's a level of consciousness. And as you raise your awareness and consciousness, your ideas about these things start changing, because all of a sudden you're aware that if I take something like shame to my spirit and I put it in that secret place of the heart, that sacred space of the heart, what happens to shame? Have you ever tried it? People who do this with me literally will sit there looking around trying to feel it, and they're like, well, it's kind of gone. Well, where did it go? Where did it go? You can't get rid of it. You can certainly create resilience to it. When you're doing that, you are in this three-dimensional state. You're in this three-dimensional world, and you're using the polarity machine. You are using the polarity of the brain. You're using the hormones and the chemicals of stress, because those are what create shame. And in order to stop that, the most efficient way you possibly can is to get inside your own heart space. We know about the electromagnetic field that moves around the heart. There is a field that is said to be maybe 8 feet. If it's most expansive, it's an 8-foot wide field that emerges from your heart. It's measurable. Science measures this. There's a second field that's less talked about. It's a toroidal field, just like the first one is. It's a donut-shaped field that just energy emerges and collapses into around you. There's a smaller one that collapses in and out of your heart. It's the same idea. It's a different space, and it's a different place you can get into. And when you tuck yourself inside there, there's no denying. There's no denying who you are, what you can do, what your purpose here is. Creation is part of that energy. Manifestation is a creation energy. And it's sitting right there for you. It's available to you. And it always has been. That's the part that always trips me up the most. It's just right there for you. And when you say things or you hear things like, we can't ever get rid of shame, especially from an authority on the subject. And she studied shame for more than 15 years. Shame and fear. She's been studying for a very long time, longer than I have for sure. And she says something like that, and it's the first words out of her mouth, but that you can create and develop a resilience to it. Most people will shut down, especially if you have that tendency or have that issue with shame, right? And fear right now is huge in our world. This is 2020. In our world right now, fear is a huge deal. It's a huge problem. And if you're stuck in if you're stuck in that fight and flight resistance inside your body, your brain is creating all kinds of stories to it. And in those places, availability to your spirit is the same as it was when you're in a good space. That's the most incredible thing about it. It doesn't go away, right? It's that old idea of the picture of the feet print on the sand. And I think it was Jesus talking, saying, I forget what the whole quote is, but that he never left you. The moments when you only saw one pair of footprints, you were being carried. And it's that idea that you're never in on this alone. You're never here alone. That spirit, that part of you, that Christ consciousness part of you is always there. It's always active, even when you're not aware of it. But the more aware of it you become, the more you can direct it. In the presence of that, this is where miracles happen, yes? In the presence of that, that's where shame cannot be. It can't. It's physically impossible. I can't be in shame and be in my heart. Can't do it. So you can create a resilience to it based on what you're teaching yourself out of your brain, or you can learn heart coherence and get inside your heart and start living through the spirit of who you truly are instead of the programming that you learn, which part of was shame. Shame is part of the program. You can get rid of the program. Your spirit is not on the program. Your brain is, your spirit's not. All right, do you understand? This might be a little bit shorter of a video. I am going to drop the link below to this interview with Louis Howe. And I recommend you watch it all. There was some great information in there, and they are fun to listen to. He does some really good interviews, so I suggest you take a look at that. And make your mind up for yourself. Do you listen to the program that's telling you can't get rid of shame? Or do you go duck into your spirit? Your heart is a transducer, all right? This is what I was told by an angel. And after experiment and playing with it and guiding people through tours of their own heart, your heart transduces information faster than anything else. It just does. I don't care what protocols you use. I don't care what thing you think you're doing. And in this period of time specifically, things have changed. More people than ever are coming to me, telling me things like, where this used to work, it no longer works, right? Tapping. I heard the emotion code most recently. Psych K, obviously, because I've talked about that quite a bit before. All kinds of different things don't work on the same level they used to, or they work for a period of time and then they don't. And the question is why? My idea is, my thought is, my guess is, my opinion is that you have up-leveled your consciousness and you need to take a step in toward your spirit. You have to take a step up with that level of consciousness. If tapping's not working anymore, if Psych K's not working anymore, your spirit's crying out to you for more. It's like, would you just look in here? Would you remember me? Shame is not something we were meant to live with. It's not part of the design of the human spirit. And you can walk away from it. You can stop the shame machine. You don't have to develop a resilience to it, although you can. When things come up that would normally shame you, if you're heart coherent, if you're in your spirit and you're walking life out in your spirit, it doesn't touch you. It doesn't mess with you because you know who you are. And the things that people say that would typically cause shame, you can look at and just say, that's not me. That's not mine, right? Okay, enough on that. I bless you. I hope this helps. My name is Christy Mattoon. I'm going to drop a link below to my Heart Coherence class. If you're interested, it's $77. It's 3 sessions that walks you through some very specific ways to do heart coherence, and also how to get rid of subconscious beliefs like shame with heart coherence. So, and also take a look at this. Go ahead and watch it. I think it's very interesting, and I think it'll give you good information as you keep watching it. All right, I bless you, and thank you so much.